Mccoys, starring Walter Brennan and Dick Crenna, created by Irving Pincus.
Want you to meet the family known as the real McCoys. From West Virginia they came to stay in sunny California. That's Grandpappy Amos and the two-looking boys, his favorite grandson, McCoy. Want you to meet Pepino, the family's hired hand. And that's old George, who lives next door, a friend and neighbor you met before. Together they share all the sorrows and joys of the family known as the real McCoys.
And you all know how very few outstanding men there are in any big city, any state, even in the nation. But right here in our own little community, we are fortunate to have such an outstanding man. He's the man I'm going to nominate as the next commander of Post 192. His name is
George McMichael.
Well, you all know what a wonderful, public-spirited citizen George is. No job is too big. No job is too small. But there are some things you don't know about him. His brilliant war record. Our George was a war hero. But I'm not going to tell you about his war exploits. Knowing George, it would only embarrass him.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't embarrass me at all. Would it, George? Go ahead, tell him. Tell him about the time George crawled through no man's land to rescue his corporal, Curly Brown, when he panicked. He unwrapped his puttees and he dragged them all the way back, wiping out a machine gun nest of Huns on the way. That's what George done.
Look, Amos, it wasn't nothing any other brave man wouldn't have done.
Well, I'd tell the boys all about them things, Harry, if I was you.
Amos, I'm trying to, but...
Oh, yeah, and while you're at it, tell him how he rescued his buddy, Private Skinny Howard, when them big buzzards was shooting straight at him.
Amos, will you stop it? Next thing you'll be telling him about the way I was wounded. Behind the German lines, remember?
Yeah, I nearly forgot that. That was the most daring thing of all. When Private Harris got hysteric on all the night patrol behind the German lines. Why, George was wounded both ways, going and coming. But that didn't stop him. No, sir. He captured 4 German officers in the field kitchen.
Well, I think by now you all know what kind of man George is. So instead of nominations, let's elect him our commander by acclamation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Well, I guess it's unanimous. 2 weeks from tonight, we'll have the installation meeting and banquet, George. Congratulations. Malibu.
Morning, Flora.
I'll get you a tablecloth and you can be Julius Caesar.
I was just fooling around with my cap.
I know what you were doing, George.
Now, Flora.
I heard all about those stories last night at the meeting.
Well, I don't know how they all get started.
Well, I do. You, George. You've been telling those stories for years, and you've been embroidering them a little bit more each year.
Well, I could have done all them things if I'd had the chance. It was just that the action didn't swing my way.
Well, I think you're very lucky that your buddies aren't around to hear you tell them. Dragging that Curly Brown across no man's land with your puttees. And how did you ever dream up that one about Skinny Howard and the Big Bertha?
That one was real. At least there I did some saving.
Yes, but the Big Bertha you saved him from wasn't a cannon. She was a big, fat man-chasing nurse.
That story just got all kind of twisted around.
Well, I wonder how the story about your war wound got twisted.
Well, Flora, people have just got to have a hero.
I certainly hope that nobody finds out the only war wound you ever got was sitting on a potato knife.
Flora, when my disability check comes every month, it don't mention no potato knife. Just says I was wounded in the line of duty. If that's good enough for the United States government, it's good enough for me.
So we need something real special for George's installation. You know, something he'd get a real kick out of.
Yeah, maybe a present, huh? Like a gold watch.
Senor Grandpa, that's what you give somebody when they finish, not when they start.
Look, Pepino, why don't you keep your 2 pesos out of this?
We were thinking of having an important guest at the affair, like the mayor, maybe.
Say, Grandpa, you know them 3 war buddies of George's? What if we brought...
Luke, he asked me. Say, what if we brought them 3 war buddies of George's here for the installation and surprised him?
That's a great idea. Just what we've been looking for. But where did we find them? Where did we get a hold of them?
Well, I've heard George talk about them. I know 2 of them. It's Skinny Howard and Scotty Harris. They belong to the post down in San Diego. And then there's one other feller, Curly Brown. He belongs in San Francisco.
We're in. I'll wire them right away.
Good.
But remember, not a word of this. We want it to be a real surprise.
Well, here we are. Your buddies is inside.
Hey, good.
I'll drive her in the barn later. Leave her outside too much, it sort of spoils the finish on it.
Curly! You old son of a gun! How are you, you old goat? Good, good. When did you guys get in?
We just rolled into San Diego an hour ago.
After all these years, the 3 of us together again.
I can't wait to see George McMichael.
Yeah, I would say this is going to be fun.
Imagine him being elected post commander. and a big testimonial, too. I wouldn't have missed this for the world.
Oh, well, come on, buddy. Let's get in the house here.
Oh, boy, this is going to be a circus. I'm telling you.
You're getting fat.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Hey, Curly, I want you to meet my grandson Luke and my hired hand Pepino.
How are you, Luke?
How are you?
How are you, Pepino?
Well, we're sure proud to have all of George's buddies in our house with us. We'll do the best we can for you.
Thanks.
I'll take your suitcase to the guest room.
Oh, thank you.
Say, why don't we all set ourselves down over here? You're going to be standing doing a lot of speaking tonight.
Okay.
Tell me, how is old George? How's he been? How does he look?
Well, he looks like he's been around for quite a spell. And taking everything into consideration, I say he's holding together pretty good, too.
Wonderful.
Oh, when he sees you fellas as installation boy, is he going to be happy?
That ain't nothing to the way he's going to feel when you all get up and tell about his war record.
You want us to tell about his war record?
Yeah, we don't want you to leave nothing out.
Nothing? You sure?
Sure shooting. Say, and speaking about that, we want to hear the whole thrilling story about how George was wounded.
And his testimonial?
Mr. McCoy,
Yeah, Curly?
you are a friend of George's, aren't you?
Best friend. Say, look, we almost forgot about giving the boys a bite of lunch. Come on.
Oh, yeah. You all just make yourselves to home.
Mademoiselle from Armadillo's parlez-vous. She was ugly, short, and thin, but she was covered with genuine dirt. Dinky, dinky, parlez-vous. She was ugly.
Still going strong.
I told you he wouldn't stop singing for now.
Well, with voices like that, no wonder the Germans retreated.
But it's good for the crops. It'll scare away all the blackbirds.
You know, they're lucky there's only 3 of them. And the house only got 1 floor. The mattresses would be coming right out the windows.
Dinky, dinky,
You know, I can't help thinking how happy this is going to make George tonight, you know?
I think he's going to be this afternoon. Hi, fellas.
Look, George, what are you doing here?
What do you mean, what am I doing here? I come over here 2 or 3 times a day, and you never ask, what are you doing here?
Well, George, I just figured you'd be home getting ready for your testimonial. And you better get going, too, because you ain't got but 4 hours or so.
Ah, you have plenty of time, Amos. I already get my hair cut, the shoes shine, and I got to shave, and I practice my speech, and, well, there ain't nothing left for me to do but maybe, get a little nervous.
George, you've been up since early, and you've been running around getting all fancied up. Why don't you go home and take yourself a little nap?
All right, I'll go home. But I won't sleep. I feel just the way I did when I couldn't wait to go over the top. Tramp, 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 the boys are marching. Cheer up.
Tramp, tramp, the boys are marching.
What's that?
What's what? That singing? Look, you hear any singing?
No? Tramp
least anything I hear is singing. How about you, Peppino? Singing?
Oh. Well, that answers that. Let's get back to your house.
Yeah, George. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Amos. Now, that's singing, and we all know it. What's going on?
Well, that singing or whatever it is coming from the television set.
You mean the television's on and you're all out here?
Well, that's the only time we enjoy it.
Oh, Amos, you can't fool me. I almost ruined the surprise, didn't I?
What surprise?
I know who they are.
Now, don't go jumping to no conclusions, George.
That's our post-quartet, practicing up songs for my installation.
How'd you guess it, George?
I guess we just can't fool them, huh, Grandpa?
See, it'd be an awful letdown if they seen you. You better get out of here quick.
Skinny Howard, you sing just as bad as you did 40 years ago.
What was that?
Nothing they told.
Hey, that's Scotty Curly Brown talking about my singing.
George, you better get home.
Skinny Howard, Scotty Harris, Curly Brown. Oh, no, it can't be.
You're right, George. It can't be. Let's go.
They're my buddies, son.
Oh, Madam is out for Marmateer's parley-boo. Madam is out for parley-boo.
It is that. It's Skinny and Scotty and Curly. And they're in your house, aren't they?
Grandpa, I guess you just might as well tell him.
George, you're right. Them is your old buddies, and we done brung them here to surprise you at your installation as commander tonight.
Uh-oh.
Ain't it a shame the whole post can't see how happy he is?
You mean they're going to be there?
Yeah, and each one of them is going to get up and he's going to tell how you saved them.
Oh, no.
Your whole glorious war record will be laying there just like an open book, George.
Not that.
And you can thank Grandpa for it, because he thought up the whole thing.
I think I better get out of here before they catch me. See me. I might ruin the surprise.
Sure, George.
Yeah, I better run. I better run home.
George, I don't understand this.
Just help me get my stuff in so I can get out of here.
But what about your installation at the Veterans Post tonight?
Oh, I hope I'm 100 miles away by then.
But where are you going?
If I could get a ticket to the moon, I'd buy it.
George.
Oh, don't ask questions, woman. I'll write you a letter about it.
George!
Amos, what are you doing here?
Oh, I come to get you for the banquet. What's all this?
Oh, just taking a few things to the cleaners.
But you'll be late for the banquet.
He's not going to the banquet. He's leaving town.
You leaving town? Tonight of all nights?
If I don't, I'll be laughed out of town tomorrow.
George, what is it?
Well, Skinny Howard and Private Scotty Harris and Corporal Curly Brown are in town for my installation.
Well, now, ain't that wonderful?
Oh, how awful.
Awful? What do you mean awful?
Well, I know them fellows, Amos. I was in the army with them, and they ain't the kind to get up and tell about the way I saved them.
Well, even they're your friends. Why shouldn't they?
Because that's not the way it happened.
What you mean, George?
Well, you see, Amos, it's 40 years ago, and things that happened that long ago get kind of foggy, and I looked up my diary, and it seems I get a few of the little details kind of mixed up.
How so?
Well, I didn't save them, Amos. They saved me.
George, you sure? Now, look, maybe whilst you was writing in your diary, you was delirious from your war wounds.
Not where he got wounded.
George?
To tell the truth, Amos, the truth is I never was a war hero, and I never saved nobody, and I was scared all the time. And as far as my war wound is concerned, I got it sitting in a potato knife.
You pumped me full of all them stories, and I believed them. You was such a hero, such a brave man. Well, when everybody finds out the truth, you'll never be able to show that face of you in this town as long as you live.
That's right, Amos.
Then we gotta keep it a secret. We can't leave the truth get out.
You mean you're not angry with me? You ain't disgusted with me?
Sure I am. But I'm your friend.
Thanks, Amos.
Now, you go ahead to the banquet, George, and you leave everything to me. I'll just run back and tell your buddies that you maybe exaggerated a little and tell them stories that when they get out there, they should back up, see?
Amos, it's great to have 3 buddies, but it means a lot more to have one true friend.
Go sit on a potato knife.
Thank you, Willie Mae Thackeray, for that lovely song. We all appreciate it. And now, in honor of our new commander, we'd like to present some more first-class entertainment. Here is the runner-up of the San Fernando Valley Baton Twirling Championship, Miss Jeannie Ludlow.
Sure laying it on for old chicken liver, I say.
Boy, is he lapping it
You're
up.
not kidding.
Well, gentlemen, as soon as Jeannie's finished, we're going to spring you on George. Good, good. Here's the way I figure we'll conduct this thing.
Yeah.
We'll introduce you, and then you can tell what a great pal George was, what a fine soldier. You know, the usual.
Sure.
Now, Curly, we'll call on you first, but save the big story for last. You know the way George saved your life during the big battle.
Saved my life.
Now, wait a minute.
Well, you don't have to tell how you panicked. George explained you were just a green, raw, chicken-livered kid. What? Skip, you can gloss over the way you got hysterical and George dragged you back from no man's land.
He dragged me back?
Scotty, you can soft pedal what you did, too. We don't want to embarrass anybody.
What?
Well, I got to go now, and we'll signal with a drum roll when we're ready for you. Oh, yes, don't forget about George's war wound. You know, the way he gritted his teeth and took it like a hero.
How about that, George? Telling everybody I panicked and he saved me. How about that, huh?
Yeah, telling everybody I got hysterical.
Oh, hi, fellas.
Say, it looks like our old pal George has been telling some real cute stories around here. I think
Your friend Harry's been giving us a line on things.
Fellas, I just found out about it myself. That's why I come back here to talk to you about.
Well, if you think for 1 minute that we're going out there and tell those guys that George saved our lives and that we panicked and got hysterical and all that sort of stuff, you got another thing coming.
Well, now, look, fellas, you was all pretty good friends of George's, weren't you?
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping maybe you could kind of make George look good when he went out this. After all, he lives in this here town, and I'd hate to see him get to be a laughing stock, because, well, it'd be gall done embarrassing for him.
Maybe it would at that, huh, Skinny?
Yeah, you got a little careless with the truth. But so what?
You fellas do just what you want, but I'm going out there and tell the truth about what happened. The nerve of that guy. Me panic.
Oh, Curly, forget it.
Look, Curly, let him be a hero. What's the difference?
A lot of difference. I'm not going to have anybody mess up my war record.
That's us.
George, here's our surprise for you. A surprise we hope will bring back your most treasured memories. Your 3 buddies whose lives you saved in World War I. And now, gentlemen, before introducing George's buddies, I think a few remarks are in order about the friendship of these 4 men.
Grandpa, what are you doing in here?
I can't go out there, Luke. I just can't go out and watch George being destroyed.
What do you mean, Grandpa? This is the biggest night. Hello? What? San Francisco? Mrs. Brown? Oh, Colonel Brown. Yes, ma'am. No, I'm sorry, he's not here right now. No, he just went out on the stage to make his speech. I'll have him call you. Bye. Oh, that was Colonel Brown's wife. She wanted to find out what time he was flying home so she could meet him at the airport.
Luke,
Yeah?
did you say Colonel Brown?
Oh, that's what his wife said, yeah.
But he ain't no colonel. I was with him this afternoon when they was kidding about never getting past corporal.
She called him Colonel, I know she did.
You know something, Luke? I got an ID. George ain't the only 4-flusher out there. There's another flusher just as bad as he is.
And now, gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the first of George's old buddies, Curly Brown.
Well, looks like you want to be first here, Corporal Brown. I mean, Colonel. Seems like you got a higher rank in San Francisco than you got down here.
Gentlemen, I'm going to start right out by telling you the plain, unvarnished truth about George McMichael's war record. In all my years of military service, I never saw a more...
Go ahead, Colonel.
A man who, in the thickest of the fight, a man who could be a more courageous, ferocious fighter than George McMichael.
Tell us more, Colonel.
And I know what I'm talking about, because George McMichael saved my life during one of the heaviest artillery barrages of the entire war. In spite of machine gun and mortar fire, George McMichael crawled out onto no man's land to rescue me when nobody else would go. He came out on his belly with bullets flying all around him.
Tell him about my wound.
George McMichael had the stuff that heroes are made of. Yes, gentlemen,